Hi, this is Elliot Fishman. Hello, and welcome to Facebook Live. It's 7 a.m. And I think what we did is, normally we do this on Wednesday or Thursday at noontime, but we thought we would try something different because of the holidays and because of so many of our followers are overseas. And I know that when we do it noontime, for many of you, it's very late at night. So we thought we'd try it early in the morning so it would be much more convenient for you, though for some of our friends on the East Coast, maybe on the way to work. But we thought we'd do it for a few weeks. And we're here. And this is our final Facebook Live for 2020. It's been a long year for everybody. I think at CTisus, we've had the same issues as everybody else has. I guess the good news is something like CTisus, which is basically on the line. We've not had any issues, of course. Our people, Lily and Sarah, have worked from home, but we've not missed a step, so I want to thank them for everything they've done. I relearned how to do lectures, how to record them. We used to have a fancy setup at work, and that person is no longer with us, and no, you can't do things at work anyway in terms of having people together. So I learned how to do it, and it worked out that it's easier and the sound is better. So some things are better. We've all learned about Zoom, and now most of us sort of hate Zoom, but it's something we need to use, and hopefully by this time next year, we will not be using Zoom. We started the year very strong, all of us. January, February, we had a meeting in Orlando, my 36th annual meeting, and this year would have been the 37th annual meeting, but we're not going to Orlando or anywhere else now. But we decided it'll be posted hopefully next week. And you can mark it on your calendar, February 13th, which is a Saturday. We will have a 37th annual course will be a one-day course, 10 lectures, be a terrific course on CT. The course is being supported by GE. There's two ways really to do the course. One way is you can do it for free, which is a great deal. The other way is there'll be a nominal charge, and then you can get CME credits. There'll be 8 CME credits, and there'll be technologist credits and radiologist credits. There'll be the world's cheapest credits, something like, what's that, 8 credits? If it's $100, then that's like $12 a credit. So I think the charges are going to be $100 for radiologists and $50 for technologists. So at the end of the day, it's going to be a great deal. You'll be able to watch the lectures on the 13th. We'll have a live Q&A, so it really pays to be there on the 13th. We'll have 4 Q&As with our 4 sessions, and then everything will be recorded, and it'll be online through the Hopkins site and also through CTisus. And you'll be able to then re-listen to it or listen to it for the first time if you're busy on the 13th, and you'll be able to get CME credits as well. So that's one of the things we'll be doing this year. Also, our newest lecture series on the Apple Store, the iLecture, will be available on January 1st. It's been accepted by the Apple Store, but we thought we'd release it in 2021 on January 1st. And Sarah's doing the final touches to our iQuiz. Remember that thanks to you all, the iQuiz won the best app on Ant Mini this year. And the newest version will be available in early January. It's massive, another 6 months of stuff, so it's 60 questions, but I think there's about 600 pearls in there. So I know I did a massive amount of work getting it prepared, and Sarah's getting it all finalized. We're also looking at all of our apps. We've worked with someone from California through a contact at Apple who is revitalizing not the content but the usability and the interface and all the interactions with our apps. The first app we will be doing is, and we're finishing it, is the app on the L-Spine, which is just a tremendous app, which we're going to push this year. And we want to win Ant Mini Award for the L-Spine. And Hannah Recht, who's now at Northwestern, was at Hopkins, is the prime mover on that app and the original versions of it. The new version is absolutely spectacular, really changing our entire look and feel and the usability. And I think it's going to be how can I say, it's going to be a starting point for really redoing all of our apps. And I think the content keeps getting better and better. The content doesn't, in a sense, change, but how you use the content There's a lot of better ways of programming now. There's a lot of interesting things that you can do. And so we really are trying very, very hard to make certain that works for all of you. So that's great. It's an interesting year, as I mentioned. COVID-19 really is the story of the year. I looked it up this morning. Here's my piece of paper, a cheat sheet. I looked up, if you went to COVID-19, type in COVID-19 on the page, the website for looking from the NIH for articles, you would find if you typed it in on December, okay, today's the 30th, December 30th, 2019, you type in COVID-19, you would have gotten 0 articles. If you typed it in at 6:30 this morning, you would have gotten 87,572 articles. 87572 articles on PubMed. It's just amazing the amount of articles. And those are the articles that are on PubMed. There's a zillion more articles that are not PubMed. I have to admit, most of the articles are, the same as the other articles, right? Here's 1,000 different articles on the CT appearance, DVTs, but all of that has helped people learn a lot, so there's nothing wrong with that. And the good news is, when I looked this morning, the most recent articles are what's going to happen after COVID is gone. So that's really positive. The vaccines are getting out there. I know in London, England, they just approved the new vaccine from Oxford. So that means there's 3 vaccines that are approved. I'm not counting the Chinese and the Russian vaccines, but the Pfizer vaccine, the Moderna. And at Hopkins, like many of the places you guys are at, the vaccines are starting. I know I got my notice yesterday, so on January 5th, which is next Tuesday, I'll be getting my vaccine, so that'll be kind of cool, and hopefully will go well. There's been a few reactions to the vaccines, but that seems to be a small number, which is good, and hopefully that this time next year we can be getting close to normal. I don't think you're going to see a lot of change, come this summer. I think things will be better, hopefully, as you begin to have a lot more people being vaccinated. And then hopefully you roll forward, and perhaps by September, when kids need to go back to school, hopefully everyone will be going back to school full time next year. So that'll be the first big thing. If people ask me the question, when are we going to stop wearing masks? I don't know. When people ask me when are they all going to come back to work, I think probably September. Google announced the other day that people will be returning to work no earlier than September 2021, and Google is pretty smart about things and pretty realistic, and that's probably a very realistic way of looking at things. I think that when you ask when are the meetings going to start, I don't know. There's been a few meetings. I think this time next year you perhaps can have smaller meetings. When are you going to have meetings like RSNA where people from all over the world come? I don't know. I love RSNA, but if you asked me if I had to bet, will RSNA happen in person next year? I would say no. Now that seems like, oh my God, you got to be kidding. But I just wonder what it's going to take for the Siemens of the world and GEs of the world and Philips and Toshibas to actually go to a large meeting where everybody is mixed in together from all sorts of countries. So I don't think that's going to happen, unfortunately. I think that's going to be a challenge. RSNA, hopefully 2022, will be occurring. But I think perhaps in the late fall, early winter, there will be meetings. Now, I've run, as I mentioned, 36 years of meetings in President's Weekend or so. We'll do this pseudo meeting, I guess I want to call it a one-day meeting, next month. But I don't think I'm going to have the February 2022 meeting. It'll be a real long shot. I think if you ask me when is it that I can run a meeting, it'll be Nashville or Las Vegas, May, June 2022. I think that's 18 months away, and I feel comfortable that that probably will happen. Things like the RSNA are such big meetings. It takes a lot of planning, but just the size of the meeting, I don't know which organization is going to be the one who's willing to be the first big meeting. We all get colds at RSNA normally, so you can imagine you have a bunch of people coming back with colds, and all of a sudden you have half your hospital testing for COVID. So hopefully, we hope that things will straighten out, but being practical, I think it's going to take a while. Um, we are looking forward on CTisus to a strong 2021. As I mentioned, one thing, the App Store stuff we do, I am working on new apps, but we're revitalizing the interfaces for some of the older ones, and that'll change into the newer apps. We're looking at increasing the content on CTisus. So you remember on Facebook Live a couple weeks ago, I did a quiz where I looked at a bunch of cases and discussed them. We're looking at ways we'll do that again. I'm just trying to figure out with Lily, how can we do it in a way that people can answer the questions. I know people could always type comments. Some of you are typing comments in right now. Hey, Susie Hannes, who's up in Pennsylvania, and Faith Williams, I think down in Baltimore, and Ramon, I'm not sure exactly where, but I think one of the things would be we'd like people to participate a little bit more. I could potentially post the cases early, but I think that's maybe not that helpful. So I think, for example, we will probably work on it in a way that I'll be discussing it with you, and you'll be able to answer as we go along. So I think that's something we're doing. I see Jay is at Jayhawk, which is our outpatient center, and we are pretty busy. I think the volumes are always a little bit lower this time of year. Remember this, I think our outpatient centers will close a bit early on Thursday, New Year's Eve. So today and tomorrow are the last 2 days of the year. So it's been a strange year, there's no doubt about it. One of the things that people do ask me is academics in the COVID era. Now, as I mentioned, there's a lot of articles, 87, 572, that were written on a topic that didn't exist a year ago. That's the good news, but I think one of the challenges with academics is you need to have meetings. Virtual meetings are okay, it's a way of getting CME credit and doing something, but I think meetings, the strength of meetings is that we all get together, you listen, you talk, you meet other people. It's the social part of things. It's the same reason why checking residents on Zoom or Microsoft Teams is okay, you get the work done, but it's not like sitting next to somebody. I think part of sitting next to someone, besides going over the cases, is the chit-chatting, and it's the humanity of it all. Now, I know some people, it's kind of like Larry David or maybe Oscar the Grouch from Sesame Street, will say that this is the greatest thing in the world. I don't like people, I don't want to talk, I don't want to go to dinner, I don't want to do this. And there are people like that. We all know them. But I think most of us really want to be together with people. Not all people. Some people I don't want to be with either. But I think it's the opportunity to really be able to teach and work closely with people that I think is something that we took for granted, I guess, and no longer will be taken for granted. So I think, people do ask me that same thing. Masks, will we be sitting with our fellows next July next to them? I'm not sure, but I'm sure that during their year here we will. When will the mask disappear in the reading room? I don't know. It really depends how well the vaccine actually works. When you get past, remember, the vaccines were tested in 40 or 45,000 patients, and now we're going to be testing it in the U.S. in 300 million patients. So we'll see how things work. And you can imagine that there'll be new vaccines coming along, which will be better. But at least in the short term, hopefully we can get closer to normal. So one thing we do ask you guys, or our audience, is for suggestions. One challenge I've always had is when I creating new lectures, I ask people what topics they wanted. They say whatever you want to talk about, which is really nice. But I wouldn't mind a few suggestions. That'd be helpful. And if you want certain topics discussed on Facebook Live, I wouldn't mind that. We do a speaker series at Hopkins. I'm trying to figure out how to get you guys to be able to participate. On January 12th, for example, we have Keith Grossman, who is the editor of Time magazine and president of Time magazine. Keith's an incredible speaker. He's spoken at Hopkins several times before, and we'll be having a conversation with him, which will be nothing short of spectacular. Time he's really picked up Time's game. Time was a magazine that was showing its age. Keith has been there for probably a little less than 2 years, and Time is at the forefront of things these days. Also, we have Linda Carter, who was the original Wonder Woman, who's philanthropist, who's a outspoken person for women's achievements and women's rights, and has really pushed the envelope. Will be speaking with us, I think, on January 28th. Um, I don't know how many of you saw WW84, Wonder Woman 1984. I saw it the other night on HBO Max, I guess it is. I did not go to the movies. Don't go to the movies, though it's probably incredible in Cinemax, in IMAX rather. But we did see that movie. And if you notice at the very end of the movie, in the last scene, there's a pole falling, and a woman stops the pole, and the people thank her for saving their kid's life. And she just they ask her, how did you know how to do that? How could you do that? She goes, practice. And if you look, that was Linda Carter, who was the original Wonder Woman, I think 1975 to 1979, way back when. Had a very strong career in music and the movies, and is still going very, very strong. And she's going to honor us with her presence, and that should be an incredible conversation. I will be interviewing her at that conversation, so it should be really good. We've had incredible speakers. We've had Patrick Collison, who's the head of Stripe, which is probably the largest privately held company now that's going to probably go public sometime in 2021, I would guess, if you read the newspapers. We've had all sorts of wonderful people speak with us this past year, and we're looking forward to really another terrific set of speaker series. And you can read a lot of the articles. We've been publishing them routinely in JSCR, so that works out very well. So if anyone has any questions, this is probably a good time to ask. But we do want to thank everybody for their support this past year and in all years. And we want to thank everybody for the support going forward. You can see all my toys in the background. I'm in my office here, and we have a staff meeting, and then I'm going to work. But I thought I'd do this from home this morning. You can see all the toys I have, all my Star Wars and all my other Disney junk, and my grandchildren and everything else. So with that, I do want to take this opportunity on behalf of Sarah, on behalf of Lily, and the entire CTisus family to wish everybody a happy and healthy 2021. Hopefully we will get by the next few months, which I think are going to be difficult in terms of the COVID numbers. But with the vaccine being rolled out, I think there'll be increased safety, though everyone needs to be very careful, particularly the next few months. But hopefully by the spring, surely by the summer, things will get better. And hopefully by the fall, we'll be returning closer to normal. And hopefully when I speak to you a year from now, just before the end of 2021, I'll be able to say, boy, that was some miserable streak we had for 2 years. But thank goodness we're back to normal. And with that, I'll thank you for your attention. And I wish you a happy and healthy 2021. Catch you later. Bye.